Hey everybody, it's Mr. C. My daughter has been sick for a few days. I got to take her to the doctor, so I'm not going to be in today. So here are your directions. You can watch this video first. First of all, for those of you that were super excited to do AimsWeb today, we're not going to do it. Okay, I'd rather give you guys the AimsWeb screeners when I'm actually there. All right, so we're going to hold off until tomorrow. Few tasks for you today. So we'll go one at a time. All right. First of all, and I'll put this up on Google Classroom. I don't have it printed. Build your Guess My Google so we could play on Wednesday. Melancholy, Impulsive, Coherent, and Bio. And this will be up on Classroom for you. Okay. Secondly, and I think this is pretty cool, is Miss Parada shared this with me, and it's a Titanic virtual field trip. Okay. It is 31 slides, but they go pretty quick. And I find them really interesting. I was always fascinated with the Titanic and archaeological sites when I was younger. Couple things to keep in mind. There are questions throughout, and I will be looking these over and taking them for a grade. So please just take your time and answer the questions fully. There's a lot of information stemming from the voyage, its construction, a lot of information about the differences between first, second, and third class passengers. And that's going to come into play very soon. In the next couple weeks, what you guys are going to get are individual passengers assigned to you, and you're going to look at like a day on the Titanic and write a letter from their perspective. Okay. So knowing a lot about first, second, and third class passengers is going to be super valuable to you guys because it's going to come up later, and there's a lot of information about that in these slideshows. All right. I'm not going to go through every slide with you. You guys can do that on your own, but every time that it says like video tour or watch this video or something, I really am going to recommend that you do that because this is going to be, first of all, it's interesting. I think the Titanic is a really cool topic. And second of all, it's going to come into play later when you actually have to pretend that you're one of these passengers. Okay. So there's a handful of slides with questions, and there's a whole bunch that have these brown boxes that, have interviews and videos of the wreck. You will need headphones for this. And this should take about 20-25 minutes to go through, especially if you're watching every single video. Just go through it carefully. A lot of topics that came up in class about like the grand staircase or, hey, like what about second class? Those are in this slideshow. Okay, so this is posted on Google Classroom as well. All right. Third is I want to move forward with the persuasive essay. Okay, so at this point, all of you should have body paragraph one, body paragraph two, and counterclaim, and the next step is to do introduction. All right. Yesterday, I asked you guys to move those three paragraphs onto a page in your Google Doc where it's easily organized, and so introduction is next. Okay. I always find introducing an essay is difficult because you're kind of coming up with an idea from scratch. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you three different options on how to introduce your topic, and you could use one of these three. All right. The first, especially if you have a topic about homework, about phones in school, or games being important, or what else, like kids that should play a certain sport. Telling a fictional story is a great way to introduce your topic. And this ends up being the most popular strategy because not only will it give you a great intro, but it does the conclusion for you. And I'll explain that on Wednesday when I get back. So, for example, you just come up with a random made up person who has the same problem and the same topic that you are writing about. So here's this one. One day in middle school, Jack was at school and his class was reading the Constitution. He got called on to read a section but could not read it because it was written in cursive. His teacher said, "You can't read cursive," and he said, "No. You don't want kids in your school to struggle like Jack. Therefore, I think that cursive writing should be taught in school because it helps kids read old documents, and other states are starting to teach it." All right. So this is a little story about Jack. He can't read cursive. So the obvious topic here that this person is doing is that school should teach it. What you will notice in the underlined sections in all of my examples is that the author of these figures out a way to get at least their main ideas from their thesis into the introduction. Okay. You don't have to have the whole thesis, like I believe that this, but at least the main ideas, because as we discussed before, the thesis and the main ideas, they organize your essay. And so you got to try to way to get those in there. All right. And there's a couple different examples, and these are all real. This is all real work from kids in the past. Second strategy is to simply ask a question that's relevant to your topic. I like this one a lot because I get notifications for my decibel level on my phone all the time for my headphones. Did you hear that? No, it might be because you're using headphones at a decibel too high for your ears. I see people wearing headphones all the time, and according to many doctors, it can be damaging. I think headphones should be used less because they can be bad for your health and can be dangerous. All right. So, quick intro, asks a little question. Can you hear that? Nope. Or, how's this one? Like, have you ever had a time where you're stressed out and learn in school? And then it's about sports and confidence. Have you ever been frustrated because you can't read anyone's notes and YouTube is blocked from school sites and you miss details? Well, this is about YouTube. So asking a question, quick intro, and then figuring out a way to get those two main ideas in there. If you just look further here, YouTube should be allowed in school computers because it will broaden resources for school and help students who can't read about some topic. So there's your two main ideas about why YouTube should be used in school. That's a little bit of an older topic, but example still great. Third is using facts. Okay. Especially for like the 10 people that are doing the Bills or Josh Allen or any of the Bills players, and a topic on that. You know, sports topics lend themselves to using facts and data and details. So, using facts to intro is a great thing. Okay. And again, this person right here, school should have an extended PE classes because they're better for children's health and improve academic achievement. I happen to agree with this. So here are three examples. All right. I always find that introing a essay is the hardest thing because you're kind of just staring at the blank page. And so just my advice is just try something, try one of these strategies and see how it sounds when you're done. All right. As long as it is an effective introduction, that's all we're really looking for here. It doesn't have to be perfect. And just making sure that you figure out a way to get those main ideas or the entire thesis statement into the intro. It's really going to work out well for you. Okay. Fun fact, the person who wrote this, oh, look what I did. The person who wrote this is the person who drew the Homer Simpson jumping for the donut that's hanging up in my room. Yeah, so this is kind of old. Anyway, all right. So you got three tasks today. The Guess My Google should take 5 minutes, like it always does. The Titanic, if you're watching all the videos and you're really going through carefully, should take about half an hour. And then the persuasive essay, just the introduction, is what I'm going to look for today. All right. Make sure that this is on the top. So you're writing above your first body paragraph. And then by the end of class today, you should have intro, body one, body two, and counterclaim. All right. My goal for all of us is to have the final copies done by Friday. All right, which is definitely manageable. After today, we got to do conclusion, one more step, and then we're going to get into the editing process. Okay, so I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow.